Welcome back, everyone, for another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the blockbuster trade where Aaron Wiggins has become an Atlanta Hawk. All right, all jokes aside, let's talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo being traded to the Miami Heat. Yes, Cream City has officially lost its freak. Last night around 11 p.m., Giannis was officially traded to the Miami Heat in a package that included about 4 players and a couple of picks. Now, this Giannis stuff has been going on for a very long time. For the last 2 years, it seems like there's been just all this hoopla around what is going to happen with Giannis, what is the next steps for the Bucks, and their toxic relationship that these two have had in the past couple of years.
I really just wanted to see where your headspace was, make sure you were good. I don't want to kind of like treat you like a stranger, you know what I mean? Like, obviously we were together for a while.
And toxic is the best way to describe it, because these two have been playing this game of back and forth, threatening to break up with one another, but no one really pulling the trigger, right? Giannis with the weird investigation stuff about not being allowed to play, and then you have the Bucks side of things not being able to construct a championship roster. The two have just been at odds, and every delusional fan has exhausted every single delusional trade that could possibly happen. Giannis is taking his talents to South Beach, where he will join the Miami Heat, becoming one of the big names the franchise has been able to acquire, that being LeBron James, Alonzo Mourning, Shaquille O'Neal, etc., etc. So let's talk about for this trade, looking forward on the Bucks side of things, the Miami Heat for Giannis, for what it means in the league overall. Lots to discuss, and we're going to get into it right now. So the Giannis era in Milwaukee has officially ended, and the Heat finally break this long void they've been trapped in, where they're not sure if they're going to rebuild, just being this middle of the pack team that's not really able to do anything, that isn't really able to break through that threshold that's needed to win a championship, or honestly just even make a splash in the playoffs. Ever since they lost Jimmy Butler, they haven't really been contenders. This was a much needed acquisition, because you can see Bam Adebayo, Tyler Herro, and the names you had currently on the roster were not going to get the job done. Play-in champions is what the Heat became known as. Everyone knew at the beginning of this season, the big speculation was, what are the Bucks going to do now, because Giannis is not going to stay here. The roster they currently had on the books was not one that was really going to do much. We all expected it, and that's exactly what happened. Giannis only ended up playing around 36 games this season. Just a whole shit show. Now, once we got into the playoffs and it was evident that Giannis had to be on the move, a lot of teams were in the mix. It was more a matter of where was he going to go and how was he going to get there, because any team that's looking to acquire a superstar like Giannis, the roster is going to feel that sort of hit. It's going to cost you damn near an arm and a leg. Whether it be picks or players, you're going to feel it some sort of way, right? And this Miami Heat team felt it on both ends.
Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
I'm feeling a warm spot. Sorry.
2 top parties that were really in serious consideration were the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. Now, the Celtics, it seems like a lot of their trade packages were revolved around just doing a 1-for-1 swap with Jaylen Brown and Giannis, a couple of picks attached, if anything. But it seemed like the Bucks really weren't interested in, actually, if anything, it would have had to include a third team to go in there and maybe move some pieces around to make things work. But it seems like things weren't able to come into fruition, and the Miami Heat capitalized on this, decided to actually do something and wake up Pat Riley from his coffin. Let's look at what Miami Heat actually had to give up to land this deal. So here are the full trade details. We have the Bucks receiving Tyler Herro, Jaime Jaquez, Kelly Ware, and Kasparas. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name because I know I cannot. 3 first-round picks, 1 in the 2026 draft, 13 overall, 2 unprotected first-round picks, that being 1 in 2031 and the other in 2033, a 2030 pick swap, and lastly, a second-round pick in 2033. Now, the Miami Heat receive Giannis Antetokounmpo and none other than Bobby Portis himself. Now, looking at the Bucks side, they were able to capitalize and receive 4 players in return for their 2, along with the superstar, 3 first-round picks, a pick swap, and a second-rounder. All in all, for Giannis, I believe this is a good haul. Giannis being 31 years old, having missed the last 3 playoff seasons, is very important to take note of these things when you're considering making any sort of trade. Being able to secure 4 young players who have shown signs of being really good role players, some of them being stars, Tyler Herro being an all-star last season, Kelly Ware showing a lot of potential defensively, Jaime Jaquez being runner-up for 6th man of the year just this season. Kasparas, now, when I saw this one did hurt a little bit. Kasparas is a rookie this season. I was watching him a lot, having some really good flashes of playmaking and shooting on the team. I was excited to see what he was able to do with the Miami Heat. But Unfortunately, he's no longer staying there, so now the Bucks get to reap the reward of this young player who has a lot of potential upside. Now, this year's 13 overall pick helps a lot because the Bucks, having lost a lot of their picks in previous trades, like the Damian Lillard one. And then a 2031 pick and a 2033, Giannis is currently 31 years old, so around that time is when the team might start to really slow down, and these are pretty good, decent picks looking far out enough where the Bucks could really get some good assets. Now, as for the Heat, you obviously receive Bobby Portis, who is a good power forward, not really much of a shooter, but he can defend and get to the rim when he's needed. He can hit open looks. But obviously the big kicker here is none other than Giannis himself. Now, with the MVP caliber power forward on your team here, the Miami Heat are looking to make a pretty drastic push towards potentially a championship. Now, let's take a look at the starting five for both teams here. Following the momentum of the last conversation, we're going to take a look at the Bucks first and their potential starting lineup. So the Bucks starting five lineup is currently projected to be Tyler Herro, Ryan Rollins, Pete Nance, Kyle Kuzma, and Miles Turner. That leaving their bench being Kelly Ware, Jaime Jaquez, and Kasparas. Now, obviously, after hearing those names, this team sounds like one that's going to benefit severely from the new draft lottery rules. But looking forward, as I previously mentioned, a lot of these guys coming from the Miami Heat have a lot of upside to become potential rotation players for this Milwaukee Bucks team. So there are things to look forward to. Now, while this is the projected lineup, I'm not sure if the Bucks are actually done making any moves. It seems like there might be a few more things on the horizon here. Maybe a Miles Turner trade is in their near future, so Khalil, where it gets that starting five spot. I'm not sure, but we're going to see. Now, for the Miami Heat side of things, their projected lineup consists of Davion Mitchell, Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Bam Adebayo. Now, a few things that have to be disclosed early on about this roster is Norman Powell entering unrestricted free agency if they are not able to come to a new contract negotiation. And then you have Andrew Wiggins, who is most likely going to opt in to a $30 million contract, unless the Miami Heat are able to renegotiate a more team-friendly deal with Wiggins' team. Now, again, it seems like that's unlikely and he's going to opt in into his contract. But why this is very important is because the Miami Heat, after signing Giannis, now only have $18.1 million left in salary cap. And now, even though that might sound like a lot of money, in terms of team construction, it's not. Having lost 4 players and only received 2 in return, those 2 roster spots now need to be filled with only $18.1 million. And that's not including the contract for Norman Powell in the first place. It most likely will take a lump sum of that as well. Now, at first, that sounds like it's pretty scary for the Miami Heat. But let's take a look at the bench for 1 second and just discuss what they have currently. So some of the notable players on the Miami Heat: Pele Larson, Simone Fontecchio, and Drew Smith. Now, while these aren't the greatest names in the NBA, thing that's really important to consider when it comes to the Miami Heat, and that being the ability of the team, the coaching staff, just the organization in general, really being able to extract the best from their players. It just seems like they always have been able to get the best juice out of the lemon, not only being good at their roles, but being able to excel in them and just be absolute killers. So they're usually capable of finding these guys on the margins and making them decent rotation players, especially in their system where you have Eric Spoelstra as one of the greatest coaches in NBA history. So that gives them a lot of grace in my book. Now let's take a look at some of the pros and cons for this Miami Heat roster now, what it means for them having acquired Giannis. People have been harping on the fact that the team has very limited creation. Davion Mitchell being the point guard of the team, the players aren't really going to organize the floor. Now, where I want to give some pushback on that is Davion Mitchell being a really good point guard. He was able to average 6.5 assists last season. Now, while he's not going to be your floor general per se, and then another individual on the roster I think is being a little bit underrated for their playmaking is Giannis himself. So Giannis, we know what to expect from him offensively on his own, but his passing ability is very underrated in the NBA. I believe he's one of the best big man passers in the league. Comes from the Jason Kidd coaching he received early on in his career, and just really being able to kick that ball out when he's driving down the lane. His basketball IQ isn't talked about enough. The guy spends half his time playing basketball and the other half.
So she bought me this too.
Stop putting it. There's little kids on there.
So guys, you know, the freak.
Stop. What is wrong with you?
He could be a freak on the court and on the shit.
Oh my
You know
God.
what I'm saying?
You're embarrassing yourself.
Woo!
But yes, I think they're downplaying just how much playmaking they actually do have on the team here, especially in Eric Spoelstra's system. But then that brings us to our next point: shots.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Now, this is where I do see the biggest issue, because this team has abysmal spacing. Outside of Norman Powell, you really don't have any knockdown shooters. As I mentioned, Davion Mitchell can shoot the ball well, but he's not really known to being that. He's more of a slasher, defensive-minded point guard. Andrew Wiggins can hit some shots, but he's not really known to be a knockdown shooter either. And then Giannis and Bam, that's pretty self-explanatory. If those two are the ones chucking up shots, then I think you can sleep soundly at night. While Bam did increase his shooting last season, averaging about 3 shots a game, but if you're going to live and die by Giannis and Bam shooting, get the caskets ready. That's a big question mark the Heat do have to answer. Their spacing and shooting is very limited with the current roster they have on the books. But the trade is not finalized till July 6th due to some cap reasons. We still could see some teams get involved and maybe the Heat make some other moves along the lines here. Now looking at the positives, the biggest one has to be the defense on this roster. With a Giannis and Bam backcourt, I mean, you're safer than a 29-point lead in a Game 4 of the NBA Finals. But yeah, no, those two being back there, being able to clean up anything. Davion Mitchell's a great defender. Him being on the perimeter. Andrew Wiggins can handle himself and move his feet. Just a lot of athleticism on this team. And it's going to really make the opponents have to work harder to get these shots they want to get up. Because this team will be on your ass. So yeah, the defense and the athleticism are the two things that really stand out for this roster as constructed. Giannis being a DPOY and Bam being a DPOY runner-up for many years. There's not much you really have to address here defensively, especially when you look around the league and some of the bigs who are dominating, that being Wemby, Jokic, Cat. So things are really shaking up to be pretty interesting in the East now that Giannis is on the roster here. But yes, that is all we have on the Giannis trade currently. It's interesting because Giannis was most likely the biggest name on the market right now. We knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of who, what, where, and when. Now we have answered that first and largest domino has fallen. Now we can look forward to other names like Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, John Morant. Exciting times for the NBA offseason. We have the NBA draft tonight, which I'll also be recording a video for, breaking that down. But yes, Giannis is officially in South Beach. Tell me, what are your guys' thoughts on the Giannis trade? Did the Miami Heat make the right move in acquiring their superstar? Are the Milwaukee Bucks going to regret saying goodbye to their franchise player? Are there more moves on the horizon for both teams? Is Giannis going to make a championship push? We don't know, but I'm excited to find out. Again, guys, thank you for tuning into this video. As always, like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts, anything you might want to ask me, or any questions you might have, and I'll see you guys in the next one.